What is going on, and welcome to Slade TV. It's the boy, and today we got a special video, and definitely kind of a heartbreaking video because for me, Attack on Titan is over and I need to talk about it. And the second season, I watched it, second season part 2. I was not gonna wait for another year to watch 2 volumes worth of content for season 3, final season part 3, whatever the case may be. So now let's get into Attack on Titan, the manga ending. I touch up a little bit on how I felt during the end of the final season as well, and there's a lot to talk about. Now I'm genuinely a little bit confused on how I feel about this ending, because a part of me feels like this might be the most proper ending for the guy. I'm just off the top of my head, I'm forgetting his name right now, but it's kind of like it's very much his style. The way I've always compared Attack on Titan to Game of Thrones, because they kind of have the similar vibe in the sense of there's a lot going on in multiple dimensions of the show with many different characters. There's so many layers to peel right in both shows. One's just more of a real life version, and then the brutality as well, because as we know, no character is really safe. That's how the show is intended. But like with both shows, towards the end, it's kind of predictable who's safe and who isn't, and that's very frustrating because out of nowhere, the people got plot armor. I've seen a joke online where someone called Rainer the plot armor Titan, and it's like, it's annoying because you built up this certain blueprint where anybody could go at any given time, things could be predictable, and then the show just got really predictable. So while I was watching the second season part 2, I got really irritated because I kind of saw where the show was going, and it made me stop watching until the season ended, because I was like, alright, I'm not going to wait weekly to just be tight every single week. Let me just let it finish and do it in one sitting and be tight in one sitting. And what I'm referring to is the plot started changing in the direction of, everyone's going to band together and get rid of Eren, etc. And it's not it's not a problem because it's realistic, right? If somebody was causing this much havoc in the world, yes, anyone who can band together, friend or enemy, will need to get rid of them. But my main issue was, it's okay if the entire world was banding together, but it's the fact that it was Mikasa and Armin who were part of it. And I guess if the other scouts were against him, like, I would expect 100% Hanj, Levi, and all these other characters would be against Eren, because they've kind of been against Eren the entire time if you really think about it. But it's annoying because those two characters are his pillars, and I understand how we later go on to find out the power of friendship and how it frees everybody from the Titan curse. Oh, brother. You know, you had to get all shonen-y on me and make the ending something that's power of the friendship, power of love, whatever the case may be. And that is another thing that I think I'll just get into in depth a little bit later. So I want to be a little bit vague right now. The ending in general, it's not terrible, right? Obviously, spoiler warning if you haven't already been, but this is a spoiler video. Eren Jaeger dies, and it doesn't make any sense. I get that he had to die, but you made him so powerful, made him go through all the proper channels to become overpowered, that the way he loses does not make sense. Which, on top of, at some point, like, all the Titans from history were coming back. I think they were fighting for Eren. And you mean to tell me that this dude loses to like 9 people? He lost to 9 people. He trampled the entire world, 80% of the world, and then loses to 9 people. That is weird energy, man. Like, it would make more sense if they got so many more powers involved and showed like these people really come out of the mud to get rid of Eren. But you had just the remaining cast of people do it. And I'm not gonna lie, the scene in which I think it's one of the final action scenes in the final season part 2 when they have to take the dock, and you have all of the Eldians, our main cast of Eldians, teaming up with the Marleyans and destroying like their family basically, right? Because it was just to them, they're traitors. The Armin and company are traitors because, and it's like you're killing your friends, and I get that there was no alternative, and that's just the brutality of the show. But it was still something that I don't know, that scene just didn't really sit right with me overall. Kind of pissed me off, especially because there were some instances where I was like, all right, you didn't really have to kill these people, but you did. And I get that you have to make sacrifices for the greater good, but you made this story, you led me to believe it would be something up until this point, and then completely flipped the script, which is okay. I'm going to move on because I don't want to drag into 1.2 long. But when I'm saying I didn't like it personally, I do understand how someone would like it because it makes sense, right? And the fact that the ending leaves me uneasy is a very Attack on Titan vibe. I never expected the ending to be happy, never expected it to be something that I would be okay with, because how can you build something up to the level that it got to and satisfy everybody? It's impossible, right? Because I'm sure that when you look back at the first episode, the title compared to how it ends, the mangaka knew what he was going to do the entire time. He didn't change. We changed, right? Because the show got so popular that we started expecting way more out of it than he could give, because the way he told the story, it was just so much more gruesome and action and crazy in the beginning, and then of course it has to change because it has to develop, and that makes sense. Anyway, second talking point, which I hate Gabby, right? As a character, just everything about her sucks. She's the worst character ever. And it's not just because she killed Sasha, it's just because nothing about her makes sense. And I'm going to talk about why I go against the theory, which everyone's main point when I tell them that I hate Gabby is that, oh, well, she's the female version of Eren, and that if you don't like Gabby, then you need to reconsider what you think about Eren, because the author did it on purpose. He made them two sides of the same coin, and they're so relatable, and if you hate Gabby, you should hate Eren because they're the same person, right? I agree to a degree, because they are supposed to be two ends of the same coin. I understand that. They have parallels. But Gabby, to me, is in no way the same as Eren, because they don't have the same type of not the word diversity. They don't have the same type of problems that they faced. Adversity. They don't have the same type of adversity, because the main thing was Eren's mother died, right? Gabby, no one in her close family died. Yeah, she lost a couple people she was cool with and friends with, but it wasn't family. In the end, she is reunited with her family. Gabby kills Sasha, which makes no sense. In return, she still didn't lose Falco. She didn't lose anybody like Rainer. She didn't lose any one of her comrades that she was really, really, really close with. I get that they try to show us she's close with these like random friends of hers that died, but they're not family. She doesn't lose family. Therefore, she cannot be as mad as Eren is, right? For her to forgive the Eldians is not that big of a feat, because she doesn't know that adversity to begin with. She doesn't know what it's like to forgive after being someone like Eren, or to go against everyone after being Armin or Mikasa, which Mikasa obviously has to make the ultimate sacrifice, which leads to breaking the curse. BS, whatever. But she doesn't have those same traumas. And then in the end, you tell me that Eren trampled 80% of the world, but Marley is the first city that's across from the water. So what path did Eren take, where he destroyed the rest of the world and then left Marley alive? So how did you get rid of everyone except them, and now every single person, Annie, Rainer, Gabby, Falco, all these people get to reunite with their loved ones and like have a happy ending when they were the ops, right? To me, it's like that's kind of bitter. It just makes me bitter, because these people ended up causing all the problems and losing nothing. And I don't know if that makes sense, because you're telling me that Eren like did all this for his mother, right? Like he was so enraged by the death of his mother that he could not stop, but he could not kill the family of the people that were responsible, or the people that were directly responsible. Rainer, Bertolt, and Annie were the ones that invaded, right? But so you left them alone and all right. It would be comical relief if Rainer was to be the last person surviving because he's been trying to kill himself this entire time. That makes sense. But instead, it's like everyone lives and all the innocent people die. That makes no sense, because the rest of the world, like, you killed all these people that aren't even involved, bro. But then you didn't kill the people that were involved. So it kind of makes Eren look stupid, and I'm a big fan of Eren, so I don't like the fact that there's so many plot holes in what he did. And on top of that, they added that whole element of time travel, and he's basically seen everything. And I get that they inherit memories. The inheriting memories thing is cool, but then when you go to the spiritual place where Ymir is locked up, and it's like a pathways to everything, and you can be everywhere at once in all these different timelines, and the fact that Eren basically knew everything that was happening, it kind of makes it a little convoluted, because for some reason whenever you involve time travel in something, it tends to get convoluted, and there's no real way to make time travel make sense. So that was another thing that kind of I didn't really like. Next, Mikasa and Jean, or John, however you want to pronounce it, that's not a thing. That's not a thing to me, because you mean to tell me that the internet, even though the author said nothing, the internet is assuming that the back of a dude's head is John next to Mikasa, implying that she moved on, which we know she didn't really move on because she visited his gravesite till she was an old lady, but she ended up getting with John. I'm just going to say Jean because it makes it easier. So she ended up getting with Jean. It just doesn't make any sense. I get that they had that they were comrades, and everyone's like, oh, but you got to read between the lines because look, it's obvious. It's not obvious. And I like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think it's one of those things where the internet needs closure themselves, so they make up something. And if the anime comes out, there's a high probability that they will give us confirmation of a lot of things that they left ambiguous. So until then, to me, that's not Jean. I would rather she just went and got with some Joe Schmo than got with one of Eren's homies. And I think, what was his name? Floke or whatever, the one with the like slightly pink hair or whatever, the one that put up the final stand against the Eldians and Marlians that teamed up. He was a ride or die. Like he really was Team Eren till the very end, and I respect that. That character was definitely elite for that reason. And like I said again, brutal scene. Anyway, Armin. I still don't know how I feel about Armin, because he seems like a very hypocritical character, but at the same time, I get that he's just boys with Eren. Like, he's just Eren's best friend, and he is kind of a pacifist that in this world of Attack on Titan, you can't be a pacifist, right? Because of the world it is, and who you're friends with, and you join the army, and I get it. But something about Armin, to me, it just seems a little off. Maybe it's just how they drew him in the final season, and the fact that he just looks too similar to Yelena. I think that's the girl, the tall girl. That, like, I don't know. At some point, I was like, are they the same person? When the time skip happened, whatever. And that scene where Eren kills the village that showed him kindness. They kind of show like what lengths he'll go to, and they wanted to really paint a picture of how wild Eren really is. That was sad. Like, that was a scene that I was like, damn, that's messed up. Therefore, it made me even more angry when he didn't kill the people that did something wrong and killed all these innocent people. It was just so backwards. And that leads me into the alternate ending, which I read the physical manga, so they added a couple extra pages to my knowledge from what people read online, which is that in the original ending, you just saw Mikasa was sitting at the tree in which they buried Eren, next the same tree he liked to sleep at. And the bird comes and puts the scarf around her neck. And some people want to say that that's Eren reincarnated, or whatever the case may be. It could be. Who knows what the author really meant by that. But I'm going to say that that scene where we see time fly by and you get the time skip, and at first it's like everyone's just visiting his gravesite over and over again, and then that slowly turns into the modernization of Eldia, and you see construction and like a civilization being built, meaning like everybody moved forward. And then right after, there's like a World War II type of scenario going on, and then after that eventually there's nothing there again. Like it's just completely flattened. Eldia is completely gone, and there's just land there, and people are starting over, right? And I thought a lot of people didn't like this. I thought it was cool because it focuses on two main points of the show. One, there's a scene where Commander Prixis, the bald dude, he says that as long as two human beings are alive, there will always be conflict in the world. And even though Eren wiped out, 80% of the population, guess what? There's still conflict in the world. I think that the author really wanted to focus on violence and the cycle of violence and cycle of hatred, and how this will never actually really end. In the beginning, when the Colossal Titan attacks, it is after 100 years of peace. And I'm assuming something similar if you go by the rest of Mikasa's, like, 17, 18 around the end of Attack on Titan. She lived to be an old lady. Let's say she lived to be 80, right? And then a couple years later, the war, and then another flat earth, not flat earth, but, just flat landscape. So about another 100 years, right? Another war happened in another 100 years. So it seems like 100 years of peace, 100 years of war, or whatever the case may be, right? Like the cycle will always repeat itself. And I know we see that boy or girl who is walking on where Eren's grave used to be, which, it kind of, the power of nature is really crazy, right? Because we see that tree, the tree survived through everything. And there's a kid walking on that ground, not knowing who's buried there, what type of life they lived, like the impact that they had. And I don't know if they're foreshadowing at the fact that that kid might go inside, and that Titan curse might begin again, or it might be something with Eren or anything. I'm not exactly too sure, but it's still, I liked that open-ended ending. It was cool. And next, one thing that really stood out to me, which was out of character, but which made it amazing, was when they're in the All. I'm just calling it the All, the place where Ymir is, and the pathways to every place exists, right? Eren and Armin, and then at one point Eren and Mikasa both see an alternate future that they could have lived. And one of the alternate futures was kind of Eren living on a farm with Mikasa, or wherever they were living. And, they were just living that they're happily ever after. And it was still sad because Eren only had 4 years to live. But they got to spend those 4 years together, which I'm sure would mean the world to Mikasa, because it turns out, yes, she really is in love with him no matter what he says or does. And then we have that what if scenario, right? We get like a little what if thrown in there, where Eren asks her when they're in the village, when they visit Marley for the first time before Eren disappears, where Eren asks her what she is to him and what he is to her. He asks her that, and she says family. And I don't know if he was looking for something more romantic. In the moment, it seems like, okay, Eren's probably not looking for something more romantic because he is Eren. But then later on, we go to find out in the same pathways type of conversation with Armin, where they're both chilling by the water where they were when they were kids, and they were having this conversation about the future, where Eren told them, we didn't get these bits and pieces, but Eren told them how this was going to end. And he was kind of saying how they would have to make these choices, etc., etc. And then we get fast forward to them when they're a little older, and Eren is basically having this bro talk with Armin, where we've never seen Eren talk like this in a long time, where he's just chatting with his boy, and he's telling him how he's in love with Mikasa, and the thought of her being with somebody else is gut-wrenching, and he doesn't want that or whatever, but he knows he can't be with her. I like that they gave Eren that bit of humanity towards the end, because he's such a complex character. He's very misunderstood, but that's like a whole nother video. He's very misunderstood, and you think he's heartless and all these things, but he's just playing the bad guy because he's dealing the hands that life dealt him, and he can't move on in any other way. He has to go through with what he's done because he's seen it. He's seen that he's done it, and he knows there's only one way that his life plays out. Not to mention, he only has 4 years left to live at this point. Yeah, but that bro talk was really cool. We got to get confirmation that Eren does in fact love Mikasa, because I know everybody has the Hysteria thing where they want Eren to be with her. Krista or Hysteria, she's the same person, but everybody wants that instead. We also got a little bit of closure on Annie and Armin. I think they kind of like each other, but we never I think it might be implied that they got together, but I'm gonna have to go back and look that over because so much happens and so much goes through my mind that I can't really be sure. And next one for me is the actual physical fight itself. I get, like, Levi basically has like no hands and he's fighting, and he's their biggest military strength, right? He's just a one-man wrecking crew. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but the details of the fight itself, they don't make sense, especially when they had all these other Titans. And then on top of that, Levi gets to finish Zeke in like a kind of like a metaphysical sense, because he did, like, I don't even know if Zeke was alive or actually there at that point, but Levi gets to get that little final strike in, which I thought it was cool. But besides that, the rest of the fight didn't really make sense to me, because how did they win, right? There's just a lot. And then Mikasa with the beheading and giving him that kiss and breaking the cycle. Already told you guys, it's a little too shonen power of the friendship for me, and that this was all because Ymir was in love with a cruel king. It makes sense, bro. It makes sense. Like, I'm not over here saying that everything is horrible and it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying that I don't know if that's personally the direction I wanted the show to go. And like, everyone now is cured of their sins, and Rainer and Annie get to go home and live a happily ever after. Like, something about that just doesn't sit right with me, because I'm not going to forget what they originally did, right? So, like, they're not forgiven in my eyes. But everyone does have, like, a lot of time goes on. And Rainer, I actually start to feel bad for Rainer. Like I said, it would be comical relief if just Rainer was, like, the last person left alive. And he's just like, what the hell? Like, nothing's ever going to change for me. And yeah, that's pretty much overall like my thoughts. Also, this video is getting kind of long. I kind of just wanted to, this is more of a video like venting than it is a review of how Attack on Titan ended, because if I was to do a review of the entire show, that might take me a while. So I'm not sure how to go about that. I don't know where I even place Attack on Titan now in my ranking system, because originally Attack on Titan was the most consistent show in my top 10 or top 5. I definitely kept Attack on Titan up there, because over the years, other shows definitely, I wouldn't say surpassed it, but that it just always changed. There's only been a couple shows that have consistently been in my top 10, like including Berserk, Monster, Attack on Titan was always there. One Piece, I finally caught up to it like 6-7 months ago or something like that, and then One Piece was eternally in my top 5. But anyway, Attack on Titan was always there, and now I'm still processing my thoughts on it. I'm gonna have to wait till the anime actually comes out and finishes the show to be 100% sure how I feel about it. I'll keep it there for now, because this isn't the absolute worst thing they could have done. It's just the show didn't go in the direction I wanted, and I'm selfish, right? Like, I wanted the show to be what I wanted it to be. So, I don't know. Like you said, you could probably tell I'm very conflicted on the show and how it made me feel. and there were so many other talking points I'm sure I missed. There were so many other little details, like how the dude Prixis like blew up all the reinforcements right on time randomly. Like the guy was retired and he was like, a gut feeling tells me I should do this. Little things that became inconsistent with the incredibly consistent story overall. The story got really inconsistent. I still don't know what I give it. Like if I had to choose right now, the ending and how the manga ended, I'll give it like a 6. Give it like a 7. I've given the show a 10 my entire life. So confusing. But I wanted to keep this as short as possible. I didn't realize how quickly 25 to 26 minutes could pass talking about a show that I really like, because I thought I could talk about it for like keep it under 10 minutes or something. Whatever. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of Attack on Titan. Do you think they're going to change things in the final season? I definitely read online that they are planning to make changes to this ending, and that's why they're going to do another season, because it's only 2 volumes worth of material. Do you like the ending? Do you hate the ending? Are you who do you ship? I don't know. Talk to me about Attack on Titan. And thank you for watching, guys. I guess this is my second anime manga review. So thank you for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, comment as always, and be on the lookout for more content.